Several years ago, two of my college-age friends were in a car accident. A deer had crossed in front of them, and Janet, who was driving, swerved to miss and rolled the car. And Mary was in the passenger seat and was Janet's best friend. And Mary died just after arriving at the hospital. Mary had lived in the same campus as my sister Mona, and in fact her dorm was really close by, and we both felt a lot of regret that we had never told Mary about Jesus. And another friend of mine who lived in the same area, knew Mary, was feeling the same way. I went to visit her one day, and that day she'd been talking about that in her prayer time with God. And she had this sense that God was telling her, you know, how do you know? How do you know what happened to Mary? She had time, she didn't die instantly, she had time to call on the Lord. And we all took comfort from that. That was true. We really didn't know. Then about 6 months later, I was out at a local hangout, and Janet walks in, and she sees me across the room and says, "Jane, I have been looking for you. I need to talk to you." And there was just such a desperate quality in her voice, and I was like, "Well, pull up a chair, you know, sit down, let's talk." And she did so, and we talked for a really long time. And during that conversation, she told me how difficult her life had been since the accident, just losing Mary, just the weight and the guilt and the blame for being the one driving the car. And she came to a point where she did not want to live any longer. She wanted to take her life, and she was thinking about ways to do that. During that time, she had a really powerful dream. And in the dream, her friend Mary came to her and started to tell her what heaven was like. She was describing heaven. And Mary told Janet that she did not have to die to have peace, that she could have peace here on earth. And then she told Janet to go and ask Jane or Mona, because they know. Oh, when she said that, I almost fell off my chair. It was just the reality of God alive and at work on the planet, and not just on the planet, but in my little world. I didn't want to lead her to Christ there because she'd been drinking, and I wanted to make sure that her head was clear, and so I told her she had to come to my house the next day, and she did. And I took her through a little booklet that talked about God's plan to save us, showed her the verses, and she took the little booklet home with her and asked Jesus into her life. And now Janet is married, has a beautiful family, and the peace that she was so desperately searching for, God just brought it right to her.